Hi guys, I'm Marie.
And I'm Maddie.
Maddie's literally trying to open up a yogurt with her teeth right now.
Okay, it's like bending the yogurt container as I'm peeling it
That's
off.
not my point. My point is that we're about to start recording and you're opening a yogurt and she's got a bag of granola sitting next to her, which I'm assuming she's going to try to pour into her yogurt.
Okay, at some point, okay? I just have it in here so I don't have to leave.
Anyway, hi guys. We are back. I know we didn't release an episode yesterday. We did warn you that our summer might be a little sporadic just because we have a lot of backpacking and hiking trips planned.
Yeah, this one, honestly, this one's my fault. I'll take blame for this one because we did a crazy hike.
Yeah.
And I got violently ill from it.
I think she got elevation sickness is what happened. And we're actually going to be recording an entire segment just on that hike, like a little mini episode for you guys, because it was insane. Lots of crazy things happened on that trip.
Yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, I got violently ill from it. So we were not able to record earlier
Maddie
this
was
week.
out of commission for quite a few days.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into this episode. So, today we are talking about Charles McCullar. In 1975, 19-year-old Charles or Chuck McCullar would vanish while hiking in Crater Lake National Park. And this is in Klamath County in Oregon. Charles was born on July 20 of 1955 at Walter Reed Army Hospital in Washington, D.C. He was a photographer and known for his love of the outdoors. So nature photography is what he specialized in. And on January 8 of 1975, Charles left his home in Virginia to go on a cross-country trip. He wanted to visit all the national parks in the United States. He would be taking buses and hitchhiking. And he did keep in contact with his parents. They heard from him on January 16th and January 22nd while he was in Utah. And the last call that they would get from him was on January 27, and Charles was at a friend's house in Oregon.
While staying with his friend, he started making plans to do some winter photography.
Which is I really like winter photography, actually.
Cold.
Yes, it's cold. Maddie doesn't like the cold. I don't like the cold either, but I like what I see in nature when it's cold.
Sometimes I have trouble seeing the beauty in things when I am
Uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah, we went snowshoeing one time and I will never take her snowshoeing again.
Okay, I suck at snowshoeing. So his plan was to visit Crater Lake National Park, and he would take the bus and then hitchhike to the lake.
Right, because the bus didn't go all the way to where he needed to go. Usually
Makes
they
sense.
don't, yeah. Now, Crater Lake National Park was established in 1902. The park is 183,224 acres.
I can't even comprehend how big that is.
I know. Crater Lake partially fills a more than 2,000-foot deep caldera that was formed more than 7,000 years ago when the volcano Mount Mazuma erupted. It is the largest lake in the United States and is about 1,949 feet. It has 2 islands, and one of the islands is 316 acres. Like, if you can even wrap your brain around that.
Wait. I'm sorry.
It's huge. The islands in this lake are huge.
This lake is... What the...
It's the biggest lake in the United States. The lake also has a full-size tree named the Old Man of the Lake that has been bobbing vertically in the lake for over a century.
The big island is called Wizard Island. That's phenomenal.
Okay. At the time that Charles planned to be at the lake, there would be a ton of snow with drifts up to 20 feet in some areas.
Oh my god, the Old Man of the Lake is in Crater Lake.
I literally just said that. It bobs vertically. It's been there for a couple.
Sorry, I was busy because I've heard about. I'm sorry, I was on my phone. I was looking at pictures of Crater Lake, and then I saw a picture of the Old Man of the Lake, and I've heard about this before.
Yeah.
It's in Crater Lake. No one knows. No one knows why he does that. No one knows why it bobs vertically up. They've looked at the log. They don't know why it does that. They don't know why it's still doing it.
Yeah.
It's weird because it's a huge stump that just...
It's not even a stump. It's a fucking tree.
I
It's
know.
like an entire
yeah,
tree.
it's huge.
Yeah. Thank you, Madison, for that.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have this great ability to just tune things out, and I got excited because
when I started talking about Crater Lake, she got really excited and started looking at pictures and got distracted. Anyway. Now, according to an article in The Strange Outdoors, the indigenous of the area believed that Crater Lake was sacred, and they believed it to be the crossroads between the spirit of above, called Skell, and the spirit below, called Laeo. Also, if I pronounced any of the names wrong,
just yell at her.
Don't yell at me. I'm sorry.
Start yelling.
The two fought gory battles here. One where Leo ripped Skell's heart from his chest, and Skell dismembered Leo and threw his body parts into the lake. A monster ate all but his head, and his spirit is still trapped in the lake. The legend goes that when stirred in anger, his spirit appears in the form of a giant crayfish that climbs out of the lake and snatches people from the shore, dragging them into the lake and drowning them. So this is definitely a lake that the indigenous people believe is good to stay away from. And you might feel the same after we're done telling the story. But I thought that was kind of intriguing.
No, that's intriguing. That is intriguing for sure. I feel like when the indigenous people tell you to stay away from somewhere, you should
just
probably
stay away.
Stay away
I totally agree.
Yep. On January 29th, Charles packed up his camping and his photography gear. He took the Greyhound bus. Oh, nothing good starts out with the Greyhound bus.
I know. We haven't had a story where the Greyhound bus is
involved.
Yeah.
He took the bus to Crater Lake National Park, and the park would be covered in snow, so it would be very cold, but Charles was confident in his skills and felt prepared for this trip.
I'm not sure about that personally, but...
Yeah, I would love to know what preparation.
We're going to talk about that.
Oh my God. So, he told his friends that he would be back in a couple of days and headed off with his camera in hand. He planned to hike there along the North Road, which recently had about 5 feet of snow dumped on it.
Yeah. And Charles told his friends that he planned to be back on the 31st, but if he wasn't back by February 1, to call for help. When he did not return by February 1, they reported him missing. And there are some variations of this date because there are some people that say he left a lot earlier, leaving like a month time, but that doesn't make sense to me. And these dates came from the dates that his friends who he was staying with reported.
Gotcha.
So I think initially what happened was the day that he left for his trip.
I could see
earlier,
that, yeah, getting like confused.
I think
with
it got confused.
Yeah.
Because this case does have a lot of crazy things that come up in it, there are a few things that get misreported, and it's done over and over and over again. So I did try to find the most accurate information. But some things still may be wrong.
So when Charles went missing, he was reported as 6'3" and approximately 150 pounds with blue eyes and shoulder-length curly hair. Last seen wearing faded blue jeans, a blue button-down jacket with a hood, orange hiking boots with snow shields, a white turtleneck sweater with a red-brown circular design, and possibly a green and white striped ski cap.
Right. So on the turtleneck, it's reported in some places that it was like red, in some places that it was brown. So it might have been like a weird brownish red color. I don't know.
Where is this description coming from? Is this
his friends when he left? Believed to be in his possession was an orange Everest 288 frame backpack. So he had a sleeping bag tied to his bag that had a red cover on it. And the sleeping bag itself was dark blue and rated for negative 25 degrees. He had a red and blue print bandana, a white tank top with blue and red trim, and a picture of Mickey Mouse on it. So he had a Mickey Mouse tank top, a large sheet of black plastic, a Boy Scout mess kit. So that's like we have one of those. It's like a plastic plate and a bowl and a knife and a spoon kind of thing. It's all plastic. It comes in like a little mesh thing nowadays.
Mm. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're
It's
talking about.
orange in our closet. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a folding hunting knife with a brass frame and a wooden handle with buck on the handle. A length of cord. He had several rolls of 35 millimeter film in black cases. A ring of keys with a Volkswagen key on it. So he had his keys with him even though he wasn't driving his car, which I do find that one a little strange.
Yeah.
He had a Nikromat camera. He had a Vivitar lens with a brown camera strap. He had a 5-quart green nylon covered army surplus, Tropics water bladder, one set of camping silverware fastened together, so like on a ring kind of thing, gray heavy wool hiking socks, black socks with individual toes that were each different colors. Those are actually comfortable, I've heard, for hiking. I've never tried them though because things around my toes freak me out. But I've heard they're like the best socks for avoiding blisters. They make like a liner that has the individual toes. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it too. He had a couple pairs of Levi jeans, and we'll get back to that in a second, but I do find the jean thing very strange. A gray Budweiser t-shirt, a brown pullover sweatshirt, long-sleeve thermal shirt, Fruit of the Loom underwear, wool underwear bottoms, box of color slides of the desert, a driver's license, and a military ID card.
I know people that sound like this guys, and they would 100% wear jeans.
Yeah, I just feel like wearing jeans out in winter in the snow where they're going to get wet and not dry out seems very strange to me. Because you can't avoid getting them wet. He doesn't have like rain pants or rain
Yeah,
gear.
he should definitely have snow pants.
Yeah.
For sure. But I'm not surprised that this young man is bringing.
Well, especially back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also had uncashed traveler's checks from Bank of America numbered 098 and 099. He had some food and a minimum of 3 boxes of matches. I'm guessing the some food is because he was planning on being out there just for a few days.
Yeah.
So he didn't have a ton of food on him. Now, his parents would actually not be notified of his disappearance until the 10th of February, which I'm assuming is when the police notify them. And it could be that his friends didn't have their contact information. Because remember, we don't have social media where you can just go up and look anybody up.
Yeah.
But it does take 10 days for his parents to be notified.
Yikes.
I know.
So the police found a witness who claimed that they had seen a hiker in the Diamond Lake area on the 29th. And this is about 45 minutes from Crater Lake. So maybe something changed his plans, or
maybe it wasn't him.
Maybe he was at Crater Lake and someone was like, hey, this Diamond Lake is really, really pretty.
Well,
and like sent him in that direction or something like that.
I honestly have no idea. But either way, they couldn't positively identify Charles. They just said it was a male hiker who kind of matched the description. They didn't get a really good look at him, but there's probably not a lot of backpackers walking the roads and the trails around this area. So I don't know.
Yeah. Another witness claimed to see a hiker along the North Road, which that had been his plan.
Right.
But there was no sign of him or his campsite found in that area.
In either area, really.
Yeah, anywhere. A park logger said that they had given Chuck a ride to the entrance of Crater Lake on the 30th.
Right. And to me, that sounds a little more credible than the eyewitnesses, because this person actually talked to him and could positively ID him as Chuck.
Does Chuck just look like any other curly-haired man?
I mean, he might look like any curly-haired hippie in this time frame, but he does have like shoulder-length curly hair, which is kind of distinctive.
Oh my God, did they do a 411 episode on him?
He's in one of the books. We're going to talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, I think he definitely looks like he belongs in the 70s, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Now, a massive search was started and immediately ran into problems. Snow was 12 feet deep in some areas, and there were reports of strange storms and high winds the week that Chuck went missing, making it even more challenging to get searchers on the ground. The northern section of the park was searched by ground and air, but no sign of Charles was found anywhere. And authorities started to believe that maybe he had left the park, changed his plans, and not told anyone.
Of course.
Which I find this a little hard to believe just because he did have like an out time. He had like this is my plan. He said, if I'm not back by this day, I don't think he would change his plans without telling anyone if he's going to say, call the police on the 1st.
Yeah, I never really understand why the police jump so quickly to...
Well, it's that whole, if you can't find them, they must not be here, right? It's the whole, we searched, and if he was here, we would have found him.
Which is not the case.
I know,
but
which is never the case.
Just because he's an adult and he can make his own decisions
Yeah.
does not mean that he changed his plans and didn't tell anybody.
And maybe that happens in a percentage of cases like this, but I would say for the majority, if they have an itinerary, a plan, and an out date, that's probably not the case.
Yeah, I would love to know when they've had how many people get reported missing who actually just like...
Well, in normal day-to-day, probably a lot, but hikers, probably less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I want to know. I want to know the amount of hikers who have changed their plans, been reported missing, and then...
been found later.
Just been like,
somewhere
oh,
else.
yeah, you were reported missing, and they're like...
Yeah, I would be very interested in that as well, because that is the conclusion that a lot of them jump to.
A lot of them.
Yeah. So it's got to happen, but I don't know.
I mean, maybe it happens, or maybe they're just like...
Maybe it's like what they need to think in order to give up the search. His father does fly out and join in the search, and he actually camped out on the shore of the lake so that he could continue searching for his son. But his family had started to believe that Charles was the victim of foul play.
Which, so far, in my opinion, does not look like foul play.
Not yet, no.
No, it seems like missing.
Missing, yeah.
Just missing, snowy, lost in the woods. He was wearing jeans, which it is the 70s, so you can't be as prepared as you can nowadays for the snow.
Yeah, I would never hike in snow like this without my protective rain gear, ever.
Without your massive amount of 0-degree shit.
Hey, I get cold and I don't want to die or get fingers and toes amputated because I get frostbite.
So my mom's going to go hiking by herself and she's going to lose fingers, and then we're not going to be able to do the podcast because she's going to have like 4 fingers and isn't going to be able to do anything.
I can still do it with 4 fingers. I'm just going to have to move to like a vocal research something where instead of typing, I speak the notes or whatever and it dictates them for me. I don't know. It'll be fine. Now, his family actually mailed circulars with photographs to approximately 86 people who were registered at Diamond Lake Lodge, which is a resort located on the route from Roseburg to Crater Lake, which yielded 0 leads. So this is a resort that's on the way to where he was going, basically, and was completely full at the time.
Dang.
Like lots of people staying there. His father actually wrote to the U.S. Senate in an attempt to solicit their help to get the FBI involved. And this is what he wrote. And also, this is after the search has basically ended for Charles.
Sad.
I know. He said, I would like to enlist your services in helping me to obtain federal assistance in my continuing search to ascertain what happened to Charles McCullar, who has been missing in Oregon since the 30th of January, 1975. The Federal Bureau of Investigation on 2 occasions has indicated that it has no authority to enter cases of missing persons. You can imagine my surprise while in Oregon searching for clues. I picked up a newspaper and read that the FBI, as well as other federal agencies, were engaged for a search for a missing person, James Hoffa. My first reaction to this situation was a feeling of indignation. However, after returning home to Virginia and giving much thought to the situation, the indignation turned to determination when I decided that the McCullar family would pursue all avenues available to receive the same magnitude of federal assistance as was afforded the Hoffa family. After returning home and reviewing the information contained in the police reports that we possess, plus maps of the area searched and the intensity of these searches without finding any sign of equipment, we concluded that Charles was not a victim of foul weather, but rather a victim of foul play. So he's basically saying, we want the FBI involved because we believe there's foul play in this case, in this situation. And according to police reports, there's no indication of that. Now, their response was, the FBI has no authority to investigate missing persons unless there is evidence to indicate a kidnapping has taken place. In those instances, we would promptly enter the case under presumptive provisions, or in cases such as James Hoffa matter, we have entered the investigation because there is an indication that the federal statutes other than kidnapping, such as extortion, may have been violated. Since there is no indication that a federal statute within this Bureau's jurisdiction has been violated, I regret to inform you of no further assistance in this matter. So they're already doing more than most families would do. You know, they're trying to get all of the help that they can get. And they're basically just saying, we have no reason to pursue further action in this case because we have no jurisdiction. We don't believe there's foul play. We don't believe anything like that has occurred
Which
here.
at this point, it doesn't look like there's been anything else.
I know. It's so...
He's just missing. His
But
stuff
for his
isn't found.
family, I think they don't care why he's missing. They just want the help to find him.
Oh, yeah, of course. So on October 13th, 1976, almost a year after Charles went missing, 2 hikers from Texas were hiking the PCT and took a wrong turn. Ugh. Taking a wrong turn while hiking the PCT. Brutal. Took a wrong turn, ended up in a remote canyon near Bybee Creek where they found a backpack in disrepair. And this was about 12 miles from Crater Lake. Oh no, he took a wrong turn. Oh God. Okay, and this area would have been covered in deep snow when Charles went missing, so walking to this location would have been very difficult.
Yeah.
So they took the bag to the ranger station.
Which, good for them for doing that, because I think a lot of people, especially if you're already like off trail, you're already like, you know, you have like a schedule or a plan or whatever, and now you found this backpack, like good for them taking it to the ranger station.
Oh, yeah.
And they also tied something to a tree near where they found it so that rangers could find their way back there.
Respect. That's kind of why I need one of those, you know, the tie, the
flagger
plastic
things. Yeah. When I used to hike with Sarah all the time, she always carried them because she thought it was really important to like mark the trail if it went off at all.
Well, that because I feel like there's been multiple times where I'm like, Jesus Christ, having some of that in my backpack would.
We should definitely have some of that in our backpack.
I want purple ones.
Okay, we'll find you some purple ones.
I want
usually
purple.
Pink, yellow, and green and orange are the colors I see, but I'm sure there's purple.
That's what I mean. I want purple ones.
We'll find you some
I want purple or blue ones.
I want blue. Let's do blue.
We can do blue.
Go.
My mom hates purple. So they took the bag to the ranger station, and in the pocket, they found a set of keys that belonged to a Volkswagen.
Which we know is the same brand of car that Charles owned.
Yep. So Ranger Larry Smith and Marion Jack compared the key to a photocopy of Charles's keys, and it appeared to match.
Yeah.
So Rangers went out hiking on horseback.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. To search the area where the hikers had found this backpack, which luckily they tagged it, so perfect. And it would not take long before they found something. And this is where the disappearance of Charles McCullar starts to get a little bizarre.
Right. Now, they find a pair of jeans, and they are sitting on a log, like kind of laying over a log.
Oh no, like he tried to lay his pants out to dry?
No.
What?
No. And they seem to be in pretty good condition. There were socks that poked out from the leg of the jeans, and inside the socks were toe bones. And inside the jeans were a few broke shards of shin bones with blood on them. They found nothing else in the immediate area.
So he shattered his shin
Maybe.
and then just lay down on a log
Maybe.
to try not to lay in the snow. He laid on a log.
Or sat on a log, yeah. Well, and we don't know, even to this day, they don't know if the break happened before or after he died. And there is blood, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the blood came from the break.
Yeah, because you can secrete liquids after you
Right.
die.
So we're not really sure, and that has to this day never been determined. The belt on the jeans was undone, and so was the button, indicating that maybe he had been in the process of taking them off. One of the rangers described the scene, saying it looked like he had literally melted into his pants. I don't like that. I don't like any of this. Now, I will tell you, there are articles out there who dispute the way that his remains are found. So there was an article in Vanished US that actually said there was no record of his remains being found in any kind of condition. But this information that I collected on how his remains were found came from the Missing 411 book by David Pilates. And it was with an interview with the ranger that found him, is where David got this information from. So there might not be a record of how his remains were found, because we'll talk about this later, but all records have been lost from this case.
Lost.
They are gone. So the only information we have about the condition of how he was found, the searches, all of that is from people who were involved in it.
Gotcha.
But the Vanished US, that write-up of this case, they actually said that it was likely that was made up about how his pants were found. Which I don't know why anybody would make that up, but
it's a pretty fucked up thing to make up.
Yeah, but the information about how he was found came from the ranger that found him in an interview with David.
I trust David. I trust the 411.
I trust 411 too, a little bit. I think he seems to be a legitimate, consistent source of information on missing people. There was no shirt, there was no coat, no boots, but about 12 feet from the jeans, the crown of a skull was found. And after an intensive search, no other evidence of Charles was ever found.
So they found his leg, shattered shin, his foot,
his toe bones.
Just his toe bones.
Yep.
Not his foot?
Nope. There were toe bones? Nope, there were just toe bones in there.
In the sock?
Yeah.
But no foot bone in the sock?
No. And then his shin bone that was broken.
So an animal or a person just took his foot but left his toes?
Well, if you think about it,
in the sock and then put the sock back into the bottom of the jeans?
I'm not sure, but if you think about it, a lot of his bones. So say, and we're going to talk about this later.
But how is there shattered shin bones but no foot bone?
Okay, so think about the stages of decomposition and how if an animal was pulling items out in whatever way, from the top of the jeans, from the bottom of the jeans, like, yes, the sock was underneath the jeans, but that doesn't mean that something couldn't have gotten into it from inside the jeans, right? There's all different kinds of animals that will feed off of and eat.
Yeah.
Right? So say some of his leg bones were pulled out and the foot came with it, but the toe bones didn't.
I'm just confused how there's shattered shin.
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about all of that later. You're getting a little ahead. Okay, relax.
You always tell me I'm getting ahead.
I know. She needs to relax.
There's no foot. There's toes and shins, but no foot.
I know.
Yet the sock is inside of the pants.
Also, where the fuck are his shoes?
Maybe a bear really needed some shoes.
Okay. Jesus. Notably, his wallet and camera are also missing. So his bag was found, but his wallet and his camera were not with his bag and were not with his jeans.
That's suspicious.
But his coat and his boots and all of that are still missing. So could his camera and his wallet be with that stuff?
Yeah, like he like undressed and was just, like he was going through hypothermia. He was undressing.
Paradoxal undressing.
And then he fell, shattered his shin.
So police attributed his missing clothing to paradoxal undressing, which is exactly what we were just talking about. We've talked about it a lot. People in the final stages of hypothermia, they think that they're overheating and they start to take off their clothing. Where are his clothes is probably a better question. And where's the rest of his body? His brother actually said, if those broken off shin bones could have talked to us, what do you think they'd say? I bet they'd say something like, I hitched a ride with this creepy guy who stole my camera equipment and money and shot me in the head. Then, on a clear day in the dead of winter, he hauled my body into the remotest part of Crater Lake, took my shirt and boots off, and set me on a log and left, figuring the animals would destroy the evidence by spring. And hey, I guess it worked because the cops ruled my death to be from natural causes. My dad doesn't buy it, though.
I feel like that if someone took that theory and was going to leave the body out there, they probably would have fully undressed the body if they were going to undress the body at all.
Well, they might be reluctant to take somebody's pants off, but also to haul his body all the way out there. Okay, so we're going to talk about theories in a second. All of that is basically the information that we have on Charles McCullar. Now, there is a lot more information on Crater Lake National Park, and I wanted to take a second to talk about a couple cases from Crater Lake National Park because Charles is not the only strange disappearance that happens in this park or at this lake even. In 1991, Glenn Allen Mackey's would go missing in the park, and his remains would be found near Bybee Creek in 2006. And if that sounds familiar, it's because that is exactly where Charles's remains were found. So why did both of these men end up off trail and in the same creek bed? And for some reason, the FBI was involved in the removal of Glenn's remains. And this is later, right? So maybe to play devil's advocate in the FBI's corner for a second, maybe by 2006, they have different standards for what they might get involved in. But for some reason, they're involved in the removal of his remains. This is in 2006. He went missing in 91, but his remains weren't found until 2006.
So maybe along with the other man going missing and found in the same area, him like contacting the FBI, and then another man goes missing and is found in that same area.
And that could be the case, but they were involved in that. That's not to say that there was anything weird about it, but there's not a lot of information about his remains. But as far as I could tell,
government cover-up.
As far as I could tell, he is listed as just dead from the elements, like nothing crazy about his case. Now, looking even further back at Crater Lake National Park, these ones are in order. That one's out of order, but I thought it was really weird that it was found like right in the same area as Chuck.
That's weird.
Now, in 1853, a man named Wesley Hillman, along with two other settlers, Henry Kipple and Isaac Skeeters, would go out in search of a missing miner known as Set 'em Up, who had a habit of wandering off into the wilderness and would return with large amounts of gold. And people thought that he had found a gold mine and had a secret cabin. He would never share where he got the gold from, though. I literally feel like we have told this story before.
I feel like this is seeming like our last case.
Right? It's a totally different area, but yeah. It has some similar...
Gold mine.
Apparently, there's a lot of similar things going on during the gold rush time. I don't know. The three had no idea where the mine or the cabin were located and actually split up to cover more ground. It is rumored that they also discovered Crater Lake during their search for the mine. And after a while, Hillman showed up claiming that he had found the cabin and the gold. They all mounted their horses to follow him to its location. While riding, Hillman and his horse went off a cliff. And Kipple and Skeeters never learned the location of the treasure they sought. And by the way, there are at least 10 variations of this story. So take it with a grain of salt. Take it as you will. Who knows what's true, what's made up, what's rumor.
His poor horse.
I know. On February 1 of 1911, B.B. Bukowski would be the first to photograph Crater Lake. He was prepared for the harsh weather and was experienced in the unforgiving terrain. Now, he told his friends that if he wasn't back in a month, to come and find him. He would, however, disappear and never be found. Although his sled and snow shovel were found about 1.5 miles east of the lake, on a later search, they would find his campsite in a cave buried in snow near where the sled and shovel had been found, and it appeared that he had spent 3 nights in the cave. What they didn't find was any of his cooking utensils, which is kind of weird.
Maybe he was washing them.
Right, and that's what I was wondering. Or was he like eating maybe when something disturbed him out of his cave and he had them in his hand? I have no idea.
Maybe he was cooking and eating away from his cave?
Could be. I mean,
That would be smarter.
Yeah, technically, to avoid attracting things. Now, the National Park Service would, however, lose all files related to his case.
Suspicious?
So we don't know a lot about it or the search. And like I said before, all files in Charles's disappearance have also been lost.
Suspicious?
Maybe, or back in a day where they didn't really worry about keeping records.
In 1944, a Grumman torpedo plane vanished from the air while flying in formation with another plane. The other pilot could not account for the disappearance, and it was officially thought that the plane must have crashed and sunk before the other pilot could see it.
Which I don't know how fast a plane sinks, especially in a lake that is like crystal clear and you can see quite a ways down in it. But he could see no sign of the plane in the lake. But it just vanished from the sky when they were flying. Like he looked over, it was gone, and he flew around, couldn't find it. I don't know. Now, in July of 1947, Mr. Cornelius was walking on a sunny afternoon with his wife near Crater Lake. And I don't know what his first name is. I couldn't find it anywhere. But he suddenly handed his wallet to his wife. He sat down on a steep slope and slid down towards the water. He quickly lost control and broke his leg. But at the bottom, near the ridge of the lake, he drug himself up and plunged himself into the water and drowned. According to his wife, this was unprovoked, and he seemed to be in a trance-like state.
So his wife killed him.
That's exactly what I said when I read this. I was like, oh, she murdered his ass.
She just shoved him down that, and then...
Yeah, she was like, babe, let me see your wallet for a second. And then she fucking pushed him down. He broke his leg at the bottom. She went down to the bottom and shoved him in. 100% what I thought too. Sorry, Mrs. Cornelius, if you did not kill your husband, but we have serious doubt.
I call bullshit. I think you killed your husband. What?
And the reason I included this one in there is because she does mention the trance-like state, and she's not the only one to mention somebody being in some sort of trance-like state around the lake.
Which I do believe that kind of stuff, but that story, that sounds like she killed her husband to me and just made up a fucking story.
Was there
so
life
that
insurance?
If they did recover his body out of the lake and he had a broken leg,
it could be explained.
Yeah.
I'm sure they recovered him, yeah. Now, he is not the only person to commit suicide. I'm going to pretend like that's what happened here. By drowning themselves in Crater Lake. There have also been people who have gone to the lake specifically to shoot themselves.
It's a pretty scenery.
I was going to say, to me, this isn't crazy because a lot of places tend to get a reputation for like a good place to go to kill yourself or hang yourself. I mean, you read about stuff like this all the time where multiple people will go somewhere to commit suicide.
Uh-huh.
But it is believed by locals that the lake, the evil spirits of the lake is what's drawing them to the lake.
Total possibility. I think so.
I know, right? Now, in 1970, seasonal park ranger Dave Panbaker, cool name, set out to hike to a known site in Crater Lake National Park, which was a Grumman F-6F Hellcat fighter that had crashed there after World War II, ending up in one of the park cliff walls. So you could still see the remnants of this old helicopter crashed into the wall. So he was hiking out to go and basically just go see it.
No, that's pretty cool.
That would be cool. I would go see that. Now, he got lost.
Naturally.
And when he sat down to try to calm himself, which is what you should always do if you get lost, don't react, he noticed a skull staring up at him from under a log. My God, can you imagine? It turned out to be 22-year-old Ensign Frank Lupo, and he had been part of a squadron of 7 Hellcats that were flying in December of 1945 over the park when fog and strange weather had affected their aircraft. And when the fog lifted, Ensign had vanished from inside the plane.
He jumped out of the helicopter.
Or fell out.
No,
yeah.
he jumped out. The lake made him jump out.
Made him jump out. Can you literally imagine, like, you sit down to calm yourself because you're lost.
And you see a fucking skull.
Just staring up at you from under a log.
No, I'm sorry.
Ugh. Okay. In August of 1978, pilot Dave Nuns flew his daughter and grandchild from Klamath Falls to Salem. On his return flight, he would take off with 2 student pilots, Jim Pryor and Matt Perkins. His wife would say that at 9:30 p.m., she felt someone grab her leg while in bed, and she would later learn that her husband's plane disappeared from radar at the same time. Don't like that.
Mm-mm.
An intensive search was launched with no sign of the plane, and on July 5 of 1985, 7 years later, a hiker found the wreckage of a Cessna plane with 3 skeletons inside. They found a piece of paper on Dave, and on it was written, "Lose not thine airspeed, lest the ground rise up and smite thee." And they don't know if that was written before the crash or after the crash. I'm guessing before. I'm guessing he always carried that around with him, maybe. In February of 1997, a pilot claimed that he saw several military jets chasing a UFO over Crater Lake. And later that evening, a large boom would be heard and felt throughout Oregon, and the origins of it were unknown. So now let's go into theories about Crater Lake, about Charles, about all of these things. And I think that the first thing we should probably cover is aliens and UFOs, because I know that Maddie is like dying to talk about that portion of it.
Actually, aliens and UFOs are not my first one on this one. Not
Okay,
aliens.
What's your government?
Oh,
cover up?
Totally spiritual. No, like something is there that is obviously, I don't want to say extraterrestrial.
Okay.
Not aliens.
Okay.
More like
possessed, maybe?
Yeah, there's some.
Okay.
Why does that log bob up and down in the lake? There's something that's there.
See, and I tend to think that there's something scientific causing that log to bob up and down in the lake. But I get what you're saying. Now,
but like all the aircrafts, it's like a Bermuda Triangle type of vibe. Like,
yeah,
or that one other park where like those hundreds of, we did a case on it. It's like middle of the U.S. somewhere. Like there's been over like 100 plane crashes that have happened in this small plot of land, like this one national park.
Now, there would be sightings of UFOs and paranormal activity, along with sightings of monsters coming from this lake and this area. There have been strange lights and flying objects in the sky reported. Strange lights over Wizard Island specifically were also reported on a regular basis. So Wizard Island is one of the islands in Crater Lake, because remember, there's 2.
It honestly would make sense if there were aliens coming down to check out the lake, because if aliens come down to Earth, they're looking over the U.S. at that moment, and they see this huge body of water in the middle of that's landlocked, and they're like, oh shit, that's huge.
I'm gonna interrupt Maddie right now, and you guys, you can hear all about her rants on Bunker Talk, but we're going to get back to actual things that have been reported in this case. So, there have been reports of aircrafts flying into the mountain and disappearing as though they entered it. Creatures residing in the caves and woods around Crater Lake, sightings of Bigfoot, winged reptilians, and shadowy figures were also reported. Government cover-ups have, of course, been suggested throughout the years. And locals suggest that staring into the water for too long can be dangerous.
I'm literally standing and staring into that water.
For as long as you can?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the whole, like, UFO, government cover-up, all of those possibilities, right? Another possibility in this case, I would say, is going to be the elements, right? There's a couple things about the elements that bother me. Okay, one of them is the lack of bones and missing shoes. But could animals have scavenged the rest? Although this doesn't explain everything else that is missing, because animals don't eat shoes or cameras, right? But
Maybe.
But I did read about another missing hiker in 411 in the Western United States edition, and that was Bart Schleier. And I thought his case was interesting because his pants were found on their own with some bones, but his shoes and everything else have never been found. So this is not the only case in the wilderness where this sort of thing has happened. And Bart actually disappeared in 2014 in the Yukon Territory, and he was hiking Reed Lakes and was a very experienced outdoorsman, and he still disappeared. He was actually taken in by a float plane that dropped him off, and this is near the Alaskan border, by the way. But it's a very isolated area. You can only get there by plane, and he was dropped off with his tent and supplies and an inflatable raft, and the plane was scheduled to pick him up later, but when the pilot arrived, he found Bart's tent knocked down. Near the tent was his backpack, bear spray, and his radio, and a knife. But he found no sight of Bart.
Kind of sounds like Bart was fighting off a bear.
Maybe. They actually found his raft on the other side of the lake across from his tent. 60 feet inland from the boat, they found a bag full of gear, and leaning on a tree nearby was his bow and arrow. Nearby, they did find a camo face mask that had blood on it, and they decided to call the RCMP. So these are his buddies that are there, like, looking for him and find this stuff. About 60 yards from the bow and arrow, they find a skull with some teeth, and they also found a pair of camouflage pants with a few bones, along with his camera. They would later find his cap and baklava, and these items had no holes or blood on them. So if he had been attacked by an animal, searchers believe that these items would have some indication of distress on them.
If he was wearing them when he got attacked by an animal.
Right. It's just they do have blood on them, though.
Yeah, maybe they were in his pocket though. He got attacked and then he wiped his face with them.
They believe he spent one night at his camp based on the food missing and the trash they found. So, super weird. Super, super weird. Like, that case is just as weird, but unsolved as well.
Yeah, no, super weird.
Last off, a couple things about Charles. One, why is he wearing jeans? It would be very difficult to keep them dry and stay warm. I don't like that.
He probably just thought, fuck it, I'm only out here for a couple days.
Also, with his missing stuff, is it possible that someone could have found his pack before the PCT hikers and maybe took some items out, like an expensive camera, like a wallet?
Possibility, yeah, people are shit.
People are shit. I still think that those items more than likely are with the rest of his clothing.
Yeah, he also, who knows what happened to him? Like, he could have dropped his camera somewhere else. He could have been in distress.
I know.
He could have gone running from an animal or something and, like, dropped it at some point and then
Right.
gotten lost and gotten way out where he was.
Well, so that's another thing that I have an issue with is the distance. How did he get 12 miles without snowshoes or skis?
People can walk ridiculously
Dude, that's
far miles.
so far. 12 miles in, like, sinking snow, though? I don't know. Now, the day he hiked in, there ended up being 7.5 feet of new snow. And this much powder would have made the passage, even for a snowmobile, basically impossible. But remember, we don't know how long Charles survived out there. We don't know how many days he could have hiked for. We also don't know exactly where he started his journey.
Yeah.
So the area where he is found is near the northwestern edge of the park. The southern edge is where he is thought to have started his journey. So that's where we get the 12 miles, right? If you look at a map, there is a trail that runs right past this area, and it connects with the other trails and heads south to the visitor center. But it can also be followed north to Spugnum Bog and is about 5 miles. This area is labeled to Diamond Lake. Now, if you remember, he was possibly spotted near Diamond Lake.
Uh-huh.
So,
Maybe he was on his way back from Diamond Lake?
could be. Now, could he have hitchhiked from the north side to the south side and actually started his hike there? This would have made it much easier for him to end up where he was found.
Total possibility.
Total
I think that's a really
possibility.
possibility. He's talking to somebody on the bus maybe, and they're talking about Diamond Lake, and he's like, "Wow, that sounds really
Or
pretty."
he gets dropped off and there's so much snow that he's struggling, and maybe somebody else comes along that's like, hey, if you come over this way. Or maybe he accidentally ended up there. I mean, we don't really know.
Yeah, who knows?
We also have the foul play theory, which is the last theory. And the main problem I have with this theory is how far off of any main area he is. So if you're going to murder him for his camera and his money, why would you transport him miles and miles into rough terrain to dump him?
I mean, maybe someone came across him.
Like somebody out there, you mean, came across him?
Yeah, like and murdered him for his stuff or some
And
shit.
maybe,
Which I mean, we've seen crazy hikers.
maybe
like that.
somebody else was like really cold and struggling and wanted his coat or something. I mean, it's
I don't know.
it's possible, right? We don't really know.
Oh my god.
And then what about the logger who gave him a ride? But again, because that guy's been brought up many times as a possible suspect. But again, where his body is found
So far.
is unlikely. Yeah.
Why wouldn't the logger just dump him on the side of the fucking road?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk more about theories in our bunker talk and craziness and whatnot. But that is basically the story of Charles McCullar.
I'm going some kind of
Supernatural.
Supernatural of some sort, some type of magnetic field. I don't know.
And I'm going with elements. So big shocker there for both of us. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. Also, we have lots of extra stuff on our Patreon. If you guys want to click over there, you can see all of our bonus materials, our Hiking with Hannah, our bonus episodes. There's a ton of stuff over there. I just want to say we had the coolest experience on our hike this week. We were hiking the Enchantments, which is a crazy hike. We're going to do a little episode on that for you guys. But while we were out there, we're headed downhill. We're on day 2, crazy, crazy hike. All of a sudden, we're passing these 3 girls, and one of them stops and stares at us. And then she's like, "Do you guys have a podcast?" And we were like, yeah. And she was like, "Oh my God, I listen to you guys."
Which is awesome. If you see us in public, you can say hi. It's fine.
Oh yeah, we totally took a picture with her. It was the coolest experience. It made our grueling downhill that day like bearable. Like It was so cool. So shout out to Brittany. It was so great meeting you. Thanks for taking a picture with us, and
You got to see me mid-death.
it was awesome. I know she got to see us at like our worst, probably. Like we were like on day 2.
I was doing worse. I was doing worse like the day before that, and then also later in the day. I was doing pretty good when we ran into her.
It was still early in the day.
It was still early in the day, yeah.
We still looked a little rough though, so you're welcome for that. But yeah, thank you so much. It was great running into you. We really appreciate all of our listeners. You guys are amazing.
What was her name?
Brittany.
Brittany.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for tuning in, you guys, and we will talk to you soon. Go check out our social media and our Patreon, and thank you to everyone who supports us.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day, Brittany.
Bye, guys.
So my mom pulls up her laptop. She's all excited about her files. I love it. I love that you're excited about the files. I think it's great. I think that it's great that you organize them. But she said that she color coordinated them.
It makes sense.
color coordinated is the key here. She changed half of her files gray and 3 of them red.
Okay, wait. Not you're kind of wrong a little bit. So I technically have 4 light gray ones.
Oh
I
my
have
God.
6 dark gray ones, and I have
worse.
3 red ones. Now, the
It's
dark
worse.
gray, shut up.
That's so much worse.
Shut up.
The light gray and dark gray?
Somebody please tell me I'm not crazy. And the reason I
No.
chose light gray and dark gray is because it matches the picture on my desktop.
Okay.
But wait, so
It doesn't even match.
but it matches the like general theme of color.
It just doesn't overpower the photo is what you mean.
It blends in better. Yeah. They're usually blue, and I figured out how on my Mac to change the color of my files so that they're not blue. So my dark gray ones are like my standard ones. It has like my research, my advertising, my promo, like all that stuff in them. They're the ones that are always on my screen. My light gray ones are our regular episodes. And then the red ones are our Patreon episodes because the Patreon logo is red.
Yeah. No. I think your organization is good.
Okay, the look you're giving me though tells me you do not think that.
The picking of the I'm looking at your desktop and you said you color coordinated your desktop and I see a shit ton of gray files.
Yeah. They blend in better.
It's funny that
It doesn't
you
look as messy.
color coordinated them.
Shut up.
Yeah, you
I also changed my
2
memo
different
pads.
shades of gray.
I also changed my memo pads to a black background instead of the yellow that standardly is on there.
I
Because
do hate the yellow for the notepads.
Yeah.
But you can change them to like purple.
Why would I do that? Now you're talking fucking crazy.
Okay, that's color coordinating though.
Why can't color coordinating be that everything like blends in and matches
I'm gonna
and
go
isn't
I'm gonna
aggressive?
go. Okay, I'm gonna go to a Phoenix route here and tell you that gray isn't a color; it's a shade.
My daughter tells me that all the time. I can still like a shade more than I like a color. Stop judging me.
Gingers don't have souls. Gingers don't have souls, and
we
is
don't
what they
like color.
do.
Actually, the red kind of bothers me, but the fact that our Scarlet is red when it comes on and then the Patreon logo is red makes it kind of okay, but I wish there was a less aggressive color that I could have instead of the red.
Is there not a less aggressive color?
Well, no, like white doesn't work. This is the white technically, but it's kind of gray. And then black is too dark on here. I already tried that.
Well, what other colors? There has to be. You have red.
Well, yeah, I have all the colors, but like
Why didn't you pick like a purple? It would match the mountains.
I don't like purple.
Like a green. It'll match the trees in your photo.
The trees in my photo are kind of like a very dark green though. A very like blended green where I feel like the color of the memo pad doesn't have that, or the color of the files doesn't have that color. And yes, I had to pay for the app in order to change the color of my files.
And you chose gray and 3 red ones.
So these are my color options.
You have so many color options. Are you kidding me? Holy shit. She has like 3 different sets of rainbows.
Stop judging me.
That's a pretty damn dark green.
Yeah, but okay, but look, that's aggressive. Hi, Phoenix.
The dragonfly got into the house somehow. Goose is playing with it. I'm telling him.
What is it?
Dragonfly, go save it. Goose is trying to eat it. Okay.
No, I want him to eat it.
No, Maddie, you'll save him.
He keeps playing with it. and
Okay,
it's
come here.
really freaking me out.
Come here. Come tell me about it over here. Upstairs. We just got interrupted by Phoenix. Do you want to tell us what's going on?
A dragonfly got into the house somehow, and Goose is trying to eat it, and he's playing with it. And I'm really freaked out because he keeps like dangling it in his mouth and just playing with it.
You didn't try to save it?
Oh no! I wanted him to eat it. That was freaking me out so much.
Maddie's on it. Maddie went running to try to save the dragonfly. Did you get it? Oh, what is it?
It's not a dragonfly. It's a cranefly.
Oh, cranefly. He can eat
It's
that.
a mosquito eater.
Okay, that's fine.
Those things eat mosquitoes. They're just like giant,
They're not scary at all.
They're kind of like moths. They don't really have any thoughts behind their brains. They just fly.
Yeah.
Anyway, Goose is eating it slowly. It is still moving, but he is eating its legs off right now.
Phoenix said it was like dangling from his mouth and really freaking her out.
Yeah, he likes to torture the bugs. He's not as mean about it as Delilah was, but they do like to torture the bugs a little bit.
Well, I think
And they're growling at them, like, and they're
Oh,
the
well,
bugs
Goose
are
is probably
there.
growling at Maverick because he doesn't want Maverick to take it from him.
Yeah,
Oh my
no,
God.
they
Our cats are
Maverick
serial
and
killers.
Goose were looking at the thing and growling.
That actually sounds like Goose's growl. Pretty spot
Okay,
on.
so Maddie says that Goose is eating it. Are you feeling comfortable enough to go back upstairs yet?
It's not flying anymore. It
Yeah.
can't fly. Goose has eaten it to the. He probably, when I told him to start eating it, like, could you eat it? You're freaking Phoenix out. He looked up at me and then started eating it. So
I do feel kind of bad for the crane fly.
it shouldn't have flew in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, buddy.
Okay, you want to go back upstairs? You can do it.
Also, I've
Or
seen.
you can hang out downstairs until you think he's gone.
I have seen
Until
two.
you think he's eaten, okay? Okay, go ahead. We are going to be done making fun of my
Yeah.
color coordinating.
I just.
Yeah? Are we done? Or you have more to say?
Oh, like, look at that color.
Yeah. It's like a light blue. It's fine.
I'm going to fix my mom's laptop for everyone else that's annoyed about it because I know that there's definitely someone else that's going to love the Phoenix. Mom color coordinated her desktop with only gray.
Does that surprise you?
She didn't use any colors, just gray.
That does not surprise
Okay, so Phoenix is going to hang out with us for a little bit and be very still and quiet. Stop itching your bug bites.
Stop itching your bug bites. Anyone else have a mosquito problem where they're living?
Oh, dude, ours are so fucking bad.
Because ours are atrocious.
Well, and we just went backpacking and the mosquitoes were like on steroids. They were everywhere. Shed had how many bites on his back?
I don't even know. I don't even.
It's so bad. It's like just
his whole back
covered.
is covered.
Yeah, it's so bad. And
apparently-
I literally had a liberal amount of bug spray on me the entire time and still got the shit bit out
Yeah.
of me.
Also, like not right over by where we live, but pretty far from where we live in our state.
Yeah. Big
Apparently,
problem.
in Wenatchee, you can't even go to the grocery store right now.
Yeah,
without
getting bit.
getting
yeah.
like eaten alive.
So it's definitely a problem. I don't know if it's a problem everywhere, but our mosquitoes this year are like way worse than we've ever seen them.
Maybe the cold wasn't able to. How we had the cold like seep in, maybe it kept the birds dormant, so they ate
I
less
don't know.
bugs.
I think it
or the
definitely
bats or something.
I think it definitely has to do with the weather. I'm not sure exactly what caused it, but we did have a really weird like spring.
We had like a delay to
Yeah.
summer. Like summer was delayed. Like we just had a longer spring, and for some reason that means more fucking bugs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because like I literally had the screen off of my window for like a minute, maybe,
Yeah.
and at least 6 mosquitoes got into my room,
Yeah. Fuck that. Nope.
and I got bit on the bottom of my foot in the middle of the night.
Oh,
The
I have
bottom of my
I have
foot.
a bite on my baby toe right now, and it is just like making me homicidal.
Oh my god,
her
it probably
baby
makes.
toe, her toe next to her.
It's the
baby
toe next to my baby toe. Thank you for correcting me on that.
It probably squishes your baby toe in your shoes. Goose is mad that he can't come into the recording studio and that his bug is all gone. He did eat the crane fly. He left a leg, 2 legs, and a wing on the ground.
Gross. God.
But he did eat the rest of it. But
Crisis
he
averted.
is mad, so he tried to pee in your plant in front of me. He tried to climb inside of it again. I don't know if he was
Which plant?
your dark.
The black raven that just started growing again?
Yeah.
Did you lock him up?
Yeah, I locked him up.
Okay.
He was trying to steal your tacks out first. The tacks actually are what got his attention.
He's such a dick.
Because he likes to steal tacks.
He's
He
a
takes
dick.
them off my wall. And then he went to put his paw in it. So I don't know if he was going to pee in it or if he was just trying to fuck with the plant because he was doing it in front of me on purpose.
I'm gonna kill
he
him.
was
So we're up there and we're like telling him he can't be on the counter and stuff. And he immediately jumps up on the window and starts trying to fuck with my plants.
only messes with the plants for attention. He figured out that the fastest way for him to get he's like a toddler.
He is like a toddler.
Negative attention is attention for him. So negative attention is just as good as positive attention, apparently.
I will say, though, that the cats are worse than a toddler because they don't fucking learn their lesson. They just keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Timeout does not work for them. We've tried.
No.
They're in timeout right now. We'll see how it goes.
It's fine. I picked up an entire load of laundry that was covered in cat piss out of the dryer. It was out of the dryer.
So the dryer got left open for a couple seconds, and Maverick immediately jumped in there and peed all over Maddie's clean clothes.
Yeah, we can't leave the washer nor the dryer open.
Why do they pee in the washer and dryer? Can somebody please fucking tell us that?
I'm guessing that something was just in there at one point.
I don't even know. I literally can't handle
cat pee on it. It smelled like cat pee.
I can't.
I honestly think it's been Maverick this entire time.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, because I caught Goose red-handed one time.
True.
Yeah.
But we've only caught Maverick doing it in the last like six months.
Yeah, I think Goose started it, and Maverick's like, well, I'll keep this going.
Well, Delilah's the one that started peeing on Shed's side of the bed, so
That's true.